I'm sorry. हाँ, तो full screen रख दीजिएगा.
Okay.
And start from the beginning. Okay. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon to all the faculty, respected faculty members of PGDSS course and dear learners. I welcome you all for today's interaction. Today's interaction is basically on the agrobiodiversity, a sustainable practice for adaptation and resilience. So this will cover your block 4 unit 1, that is biodiversity, its concept, origin and importance, why it is important. So here why we are calling agrobiodiversity a sustainable practice for adaptation and resilience, we'll just go through this. And the two technical terms which we are using here is adaptation and resilience. So first of all, to introduce agrobiodiversity, it is a diversified, eco-friendly and sustainable land use system. It is diversified, eco-friendly and sustainable land use system. It helps us to adapt to the extreme climatic condition, extreme environmental condition, changing climatic conditions. So adaptation, by adaptation we means actions that reduce the effect of uncertainty of environment on climate change. So agroforestry, they help us to reduce these effects. What they do, they alter the microclimate. They alter the microclimate to reduce the impact of extreme weather condition on crop production. They provide the microclimate to maintain the quality and quantity of forage production. They provide great habitat diversity to the landscape. Then we come to the resilience. Resilience, by definition, we means when a system comes back to its original position. Suppose there is some disturbance, and when it comes to the normal condition, that process is known as the resilience. So agroforestry helps to reduce the many greenhouse gases from this environment, to increase carbon storage in their biomass above ground as well as below ground in the soil organic carbon. When the carbon is sequestered, it improves the soil quality, it checks the soil erosion, and also by adding the trees and perennials to the landscape, it can help to mitigate the many harmful effects. It also reduces the threats and enhances the resilience of the ecosystem. So earlier also in unit 1, you have studied about the biodiversity, but to know the more, before we step to the agrobiodiversity definitions in details, we want to brush up the definition of biodiversity. So biodiversity, if we define, it is the variability among all living organisms, whether it is plants, animal, fungi, microorganisms on this earth, they come under the theme of biodiversity. So, but why biodiversity is important? It is the foundation of ecosystem services, and to which ultimately our human well-being is linked. In biodiversity also, specifically, we'll just take only the small definitions of species diversity, genetic diversity, and habitat diversity. What is species diversity and why it is important? Species diversity, it is the number of relative abundance of species found in a given biological organisms. Why it is important? It is important for healthy ecosystems. It is crucial for ecosystem health. Then we come to the genetic diversity. It is the range of different inherited traits within a species. And why they are important? They are also important because they are critical for population to adapt to the changing environmental condition. This genetic diversity is important for adaptation part. Then is ecosystem or habitat diversity. Different habitat, that is diversity between different habitats, between different biological communities, and associated ecological processes. Now we come to the definition of agrobiodiversity. Now, agrobiodiversity, it is the variety and variability of plants, animals, and microorganisms that are used directly or indirectly for food and agriculture. It includes crops, livestock, forestry, and fishes. It also comprises of diversity of genetic resources and diversity of non-harvested species that support production. That means that that includes the soil microorganisms, predators, etc. So in another definition of agriculture biodiversity, we see it is a broad term that includes all components of biological diversity of relevance to food and agriculture. It also comprises of all components of biological diversity that constitute agriculture ecosystems, the variety and variability of animals, plants, microorganisms, genetics, species, which are basically necessary to sustain key functions of agroecosystem, its structure and processes. Just a minute. Then we come to the components of biodiversity. Agrobiodiversity component also, here it is divided into habitat diversity. There are different kind of land uses within agrobiodiversity. Also there are different soil types, different hedges, there are other farm types. So various kind of habitats are present in ecosystem also. Interspecific, then we come to the interspecific. That means community of different species, community of different plant species, community of different animal species, community of different microbial species. The key factor what they play in this agrobiodiversity is that they govern the community function as well as the stability of the community. Intraspecific diversity, it is also very important for agrobiodiversity part. It is the variation within a population from same species. That is many genetic resources, unique traits we get from different kind of species, within a same population. That is important to develop different or new traits in a variety. Then is the harvested species and associated species. Which are important for the pollinators, harmful predators, soil organism, health and disease. And then comes the cultural diversity. The type of farmer, farm, common property, resources, ownership, they all are linked with the cultural diversity. Now, what role does the agrobiodiversity plays in the environment? It helps in the ecosystem resilience, climate change mitigation, land cover, watershed management, prevention of soil erosion and offsite impacts, stability of water regime, flood prevention, pollution control, social stability, poverty reduction, rural and urban mitigation. Due to many climate change factors, people migrate from rural area to urban areas, so it stops that kind of migration also. Then comes the food security. It helps in economic growth, food security, access to food, food safety, livelihood. Cultural roles, cultural diversity, indigenous knowledge, landscape, recreation, tourism, etc. Again, it is. So there is a synergy between agriculture and biodiversity. Biodiversity is the basis for the agriculture production. It is important for adaptation, maintenance of ecosystem functions. Resilience increases with the biodiversity. On the other hand, agriculture delivers the ecosystem services. It contributes to conservation of biodiversity. It has positive effects on biophysical aspects of soil and ecological characteristics. So what is the importance of biodiversity in agriculture systems, ecosystem? Biodiversity, it is increasing the productivity as well as stability of ecosystem due to the presence of hedges on ditches, field margins. The cultural aspects of landscape design is preserved, and they also form a specific habitat for insects, birds, plants, and other animals. For the production of goods, that is fuel, fodder, fiber, for the conservation and ecological function to sustain the life support system, to allow adaptation to changing situation, to sustain rural people livelihood, wild and domesticated species diversity. So same ecosystem services which we are speaking earlier, they are summarized in this table also. So what these biodiversity related examples are, or they are helpful in food production, raw material, genetic resources, climate regulation, resilience, water regulation, erosion control, soil formation, nutrient cycling, waste detoxification, pollination, biological control, refugia, that means habitat for transient population, etc. So what is the next? We come to the concept. What is the concept of agroforestry? It is an environmental friendly land use system where is numerous interaction among trees with crops, livestock, and other living organisms occurs. Major objective of agroforestry is to optimize production and economic returns per unit area while respecting the principle of sustainable development. It provides opportunities to create a resilient system in which both food and nature thrives. It can thrive and sustain itself. It is a collective name for land use system involving trees combined with crops or animals on same unit of land. Production of multiple outputs with protection of the resource base. It places emphasis on the use of multiple indigenous trees and shrubs. It is suitable for low input and fragile environment. It involves interplay of social cultural values. It is structurally and functionally more promising than a monoculture. I mean, students are listening. If they have some problem in between, they can ask. I don't have any issue. If I'm going fast, then also they can say, "Ma'am, you're fast," or I didn't understood. So by the time I have just summarized what is biodiversity, what is agrobiodiversity, what is its concept, and what is its benefits, we'll be discussing now. Importance of benefits of agrobiodiversity. It increases productivity, food security, and economic returns. It reduces pressure on fragile system and endangered species. Economic benefits. Combining tree with food crops on cropland, it gives many important beneficial environment benefits. That is reduction of pressure on forest, more efficient recycling of nutrients by deep-rooted trees on site, better protection of ecological systems, reduction of surface runoff, soil erosion control, improvement of microclimate, increment of soil nutrients through addition and decomposition of litter fall, improvement of soil structure. In all this production of food, these living organisms are involved. For example, if we take the example of soil, many type of bacteria, earthworms are active to provide ecosystem services, digesting manure, crop residue, and roots. The digestion process releases the nutrients for crops. At the same time, it contributes to the carrying capacity of soils, to the disease suppression, water retention, and water supplying capacity of the soil. Then we come to economic benefits. Agroforestry system on cropland or farmland brings significant economic benefits to the farmers. Increment in maintenance of output of food, fuel, fodder, fertilizer, and timber. Reduction in incidence of total crop failure, which is common to single cropping or monoculture. It increases the level of farm income due to improved and sustained productivity, makes farming system more stable, robust, and sustainable. Then we come to the social benefits. Besides economic, social benefits also occurs from increase in crop and tree product yields in the sustainability of these products. These benefits are improvement in rural living standard from sustained employment and higher incomes, improvement in nutrition and health due to increased quality and diversity of food products, stabilization and improvement of upland communities through elimination of need to shift sites of farm activities. Then we come to center of origin of cultivated plants. Selection and breeding, they create the species, varieties, and breeds. So origin of crop is also important for plant breeding in order to locate the wild relatives, its relative species, and new genes. There are basically 8 centers of origin of agrobiodiversity, that is also known as Nebula of centers of origin. All crops used at present originated from one of these centers. So these first one is this South Mexican and Central American center from this palm, various legumes, melon plants, fiber plants, miscellaneous like papaya, pepper, sweet potato. These all have originated from this center. Then is the South American center. 62 plants listed here have been originated from this center. Root tubers, grains like potato, tomato, guava, common potato, pineapple, they have originated from this center. Next is Mediterranean center. The cereals, oats, Egyptian cloves, oil, black mustard, cabbage, they have all originated from this Mediterranean center. Then is Middle East, fenugreek which we eat, pear, cherry, wheat, they have come from the Middle East. Then Ethiopia center, the barley, grain, sorghum, sesame, castor bean, coffee, they are all originated from this center. Then comes the Central Asiatic center. Peas, horse beans, chickpea, mung bean, mustard, flaxseed, these are the important crop plants, hemp, cotton, which have come from this center. Then from Indian center, urad bean, mung bean, rice, coffee, eggplant, cucumber, they all have originated from this center. And then we come to the Chinese center. Radish, onion, lychee, orange, walnut, these are important fruits which we have originated from this center. Now we come to the agroforestry systems. Agroforestry, we in the basic concept we know we are planting crop also, we are planting trees also, we are rearing the livestock animals also on the same unit, same land unit on the sustainable basis. So, but there are various systems, various ratios in which this agroforestry system operates. First of all, we'll see the silvipastoral system. Silvi means trees, pastoral means grasses. So, silvipastoral system, in this system we see it is defined as the growing of ideal combination of grasses, legumes, and trees for producing highly nutritious top fodder and forage, fuel wood, timber, and optimizing land productivity, conserving plants, soil, and nutrients on sustainable basis on the same unit of land. These 3 things we are producing on the same unit of land. So the spaces between forest tree species are utilized for the cultivation of grasses and grass legume mixtures in this system. Then we come to agri-silvi-pastoral system. That means here agriculture, forestry and pasture livestock all are being done in same unit of land. That is a system where agriculture crop, forest tree species, grasses are grown on same unit land simultaneously, which provide food to the farmer and feed and fodder to the livestock in a sustainable way. During cropping season, the animals are fed with stored straw and supplemented with grass and foliage of the trees. Then we come to the hortipastoral system, where the fruit trees are grown along with the crops and livestock. That means the interspaces between fruit tree species are utilized for cultivation of grasses and grass legume mixtures. Then comes agri-silviculture. Only crops and trees are grown. So trees, they function as the function as a shelter belt. They give the protective coverage, soil conservation, windbreaks. Also, they give the food and fodder and fuel in this system. Other agroforestry system might this include. Just a minute. Other system include the apiculture with trees. For the production of honey, it is done. In this system, whatever trees or honeybees like, they are those species are planted on the boundary mixed with agriculture crops. Then is the agroforestry. In this system, various trees and shrubs preferred by fish are planted on the boundary and around the fish ponds. And the next, in most recent days, the permaculture is also practiced in the agroforestry systems. Now to come up with some examples in Haryana, which models are used. Here, the people are economically quite rich using these agroforestry models. The first one is popular based agroforestry models. The agriculture crops which are generally grown as intercrop with popular plantation are sugarcane, wheat, potato, gram, mustard, soya bean, ginger, turmeric, etc. And vegetables like tomatoes, chili, radish, they are grown along with this popular plantation. So this popular planting is also helpful in protecting agriculture crops from scorching sun, effects of wind. It also controls the soil erosion. The fertility of soil and high water table have been found quite favorable for raising this popular plantation here. So cultivation of agriculture crop with popular at 8-year rotation, it ensures higher economic growth in Haryana. Second model is eucalyptus based agroforestry model. Since 60s, it has been used here as avenue tree on farmers' homestead, cattle shed, and roadside avenue on farm approach road. Raising eucalyptus on field boundaries under different patterns of plantation is common practice adopted by farmers here in the Haryana. What is the way forward of this using this agroforestry system? Though they are very economical, sustainable, and stable, and ecological security is maximum for the land production system, still there are problems with which species will be suitable. What will be the marketing trends? What will be the policy for that state? Industrialization, for which there is a great necessity for discussion and deliberation among the farmers as well as the industrialists, the policy makers. They have to still make more discussions and capacity building programs. However, this with agroforestry, the average productivity has been enhanced to 25 to 30 cubic meter per hectare per year from popular and clonal eucalyptus plantations in Haryana. So by this way, we can say the agroforestry is very cheap, profitable, and sustainable alternative. There is a vast scope of research and development in this field. Many high-yielding clones of agroforestry species have been evolved, which need to be demonstrated in the field so that tree growers can increase the productivity of their plantations. High-yielding and disease-resistant clones of eucalyptus, poplar, teak, Ailanthus, KG, etc. need to be evolved through continuous research. So this is the way forward. This is the way forward. We need to do a lot of R&D work. People like you will definitely be studying these agroforestry species, which are more appropriate in which environment, wherever you are staying, in whichever state you are staying, you need to know what government subsidies they are providing to the farmers. You should study all these things. And then only you can come with some practical solution to this kind of environmental issues. So what you can do is you can also see which species are good for your area. You can write the benefits, like I have divided into the environmental, social, economical benefits. You divide that, write it on a piece of paper. So likewise, it will be a very practical work. Go on to the Google forest department site of your area. What models they are following. You just see how much productivity has increased. What you can do in that after studying this course. What will be your inputs? Try to analyze, formulate a research question on the species. And next is the agrobiodiversity and food security. Food security is achieved when all people at all time have physical and economical access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that is available at right time and right place. There are three core determinants of food security: availability, access, and utilization. Availability means it involves the production of sufficient quantity of food that is available at right time and in right place. Access means it concerns the demand side, in particular the problems of people who cannot buy enough food, even if it is available. And utilization, it involves the current storage, processing, and combination of foods. Humans use at least 40,000 species of plants and animals. But we majorly depend on three major crops, that is wheat, rice, and maize. That contributes about 2/3 of total food production. So, but there is enormous potential for increasing the range of food products suitable for human consumption. That should be a given thought. You should give a thought to it. Leafy vegetables, fruits, legumes, root tubers, spices, and herbs essential for human nutrition and which complement the staple crops such as rice and maize need to be emphasized. We need to look upon the other things also, like in home garden also often accumulate a particular rich diversity of crops. Home gardens, everybody should make the home gardens. Then is the importance of wild varieties and species. The wild varieties are very important. They are reservoir for genetic traits. The genetic traits which are present in these wild varieties and traditionally grown land races, it is extremely important for the crop performance, for improving the crop performance. So important crops like potato, banana, coffee, all they have derived from few genetic strains only. So interbreeding crop strains with different beneficial traits has resulted in doubling crop production in last 50 years as a result of Green Revolution. So we need to emphasize on wild variety also. Wild species are also very important. So we should not think like that ki wild varieties are of no importance. They have great potential. Then we come to the agrobiodiversity and climate change. The effects of climate change everywhere it is being felt, like rise in temperature, changes in precipitation patterns, rise in sea level, higher incidence of extreme weather conditions, increase in greenhouse gases. It will these all things will affect, or in fact they are affecting the agriculture yields everywhere. Major change in the cropping patterns is being done, is happening all around, and extinction of species is also there. But there is paucity of studies how which species have been extinct. We can't speak upon those part, but definitely the species are being extinct due to climate change. The changes in length of growing seasons for plants has occurred due to climate change. It has already been seen. So what are the strategies? There are two strategies. One is adaptation and second is mitigation. In adaptation and mitigation, we make the efforts to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, enhance the capacity, adaptation that is, enhance the capacity to adapt to the irreversible changes. The changes which are already happening, we need to make a certain arrangement to adapt to that changes. We want to strengthen the community, the farmers, to adapt to those changes. Then agriculture genetic resources are important for adaptation. That means like some, if you want to make some drought related crop variety, so that we can do using some wild relatives of that particular species. Stress resistant plant species can be developed in under in situ condition, breeding under in situ conditions. Then we come in Haryana, I can say for combating this climate change, there is one project which is known as the Climate Smart Villages, which has been funded by the NAFCC, that is National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change. The basic idea or basic concept of this project is for adapting the measure to counter the effects of climate change on agriculture. There are many activities under this project, but in the nutshell, we can say they are providing the trainings on how to make a village a climate smart village so that it can adapt and mitigate the climate change effects. So this includes water smart practices. They are teaching the rainwater harvesting, laser land leveling, micro irrigation, raising bed planting, crop diversification, alternative wetting and drying and rice, direct seeded rice. Then weather smart activities, which include uh, index-based insurance, test tolerance crops, services of agromet, crops and varieties, other they are telling. Then is a nutrient smart practice, precision fertilizer application using nutrient expert decision support tool, leaf color chart, legume catch cropping, then carbon and energy smart, zero tillage, residue management, legumes, and knowledge smart activities, climate, community seed bank, cooperatives. These interventions are working together to increase a community's resilience to climate stress while ensuring household food and livelihood security.
Ma'am, which organization is conducting this project, Climate Smart Village?
This is funded by NAFCC, National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change.
Okay.
There are various funds available. I mean, any government or any NGO can write some project. See, NAFCC is basically for climate related
Okay.
topics.
Okay.
So the maximum limit of what a government or organization can submit is it is 25 crores. Till 25
Ranjeet,
crores.
we can take the question in discussion now, right? Okay.
So,
Please carry
so
on.
we are
please
just
carry on.
coming to the last part only. So mainstreaming biodiversity for sustainable agriculture and food security. What we can do at our end, or what has to be done. Incorporation of principle into national policies and strategies, and dedicated support to farmers in order to give them necessary knowledge, opportunities, and mean to explore the advantage of agroforestry. It is the need for the training and education, raising awareness, telling them the importance of agroforestry, why they will be economically benefited, their area, their soil will be benefited. Ultimately, they will again be benefited from all this. So, but this idea has to be communicated to them. So, what is the advantage of agroforestry has to be communicated to those people. So that's it. This is a in nutshell. I have told you about the agroforestry, its importance, its concept, various models in Haryana. So if you have any question, now you're open to the discussion.